Welcome everybody to the Microsoft Excel MO-200 event. My name is Chintan, Patel. I will be your instructor today for this particular event. Thank you for registering and for being with us today for this Microsoft Excel class. I received about 47 invitation meeting requests accepted. So hopefully we can see all 47 coming on. Eventually we will get everybody onto the platform. I think Teams is still new for a couple of people. It will. I see that 8 are online already. All right, so we have so many people from South Africa. We have so many people across the world. Today and for the next 4 weeks, we'll be going through the type of content we need to be prepared for when we want to attempt the Microsoft Excel MO-200 exam. Right, so you'll be seeing me glancing from one screen to the other. I'm actually using 2 screens here, one with the Q&A, one with the live content on the screen. So just bear with me. I'm not trying to avoid you. I'm not trying to read from somewhere else. It's just that I have to manage both screens at once, right? So we are going to see that today's session is going to be for an hour long. We have started about 5 minutes late. Hopefully we can finish on time at 10 o'clock, but we may go over about 5 minutes or so. We do have an agenda that I'm going to go through in a moment. We just want to make sure that we cover whatever is necessary for this particular course in time for the next 4 weeks. Right, so from today for the next 4 weeks, we're going to go through the content that we need to prepare for the actual exam. Right, so we may see that today we might not finish everything we need to do. We will continue in the next lesson, right? Otherwise, it depends on how many questions we have, how much we can get through, because we'll have people at different levels, right? So we are going to try and do this together. And we're not going to rush. Today is not about rushing. It is about all our questions being answered, any clarifications, but a lot about listening, actually. So because we're going to see the preparing for an Excel exam is somewhat tricky. It can actually be different to something that you normally do using Excel. I'll come to that in a moment. We just have, a quick agenda I want to get through. Now, I do see that, looking at our time, I don't want to speak too much about, things other than what we are supposed to be doing, right? So, I'm going to actually skip the first bullet point. I wanted to talk about the MOS certification and Certiport, right? But that may take some time. I don't want to take up your time, just for you listening to my rambling about why you should be doing this. What is it for? We want to actually get some practical work done, right? So, but closer to the end, I'll talk about MOS certification and Certiport. All right, so what is that all about? Why should we be taking this exam? We're going to go through some practical bits starting in a minute or so, right? So this is just an overview of what we have available, what we need to do for today. Just where is this information coming from? And I'll just put that in the chat as well. Where do we actually get the skills measured, the ones that I have on the PowerPoint screen? So it is important that you have a look at the objectives or the skills measured. So I'm going to put that as an announcement over here. That will give you, an idea what you are going to be tested on. Right, so it is very important we visit this website before we attempt the exam or before you start practicing anything, because it will tell you, this website will tell you why you need to know, or what do you actually need to know for the exam. A lot of people like studying everything in Excel, like every single button, every single tab. When they come to the exam, then they panic and then they don't know what they are doing, right? So this particular website here, especially the skills measured. So when you're on that website, you scroll down, you will see skills measured. So I'm actually seeing if I can post that on the screen. Let's see if I move this side over here. All right. So I'm trying to see if I can get my skills measured screen onto the live screen. Just give me a minute. Okay. All right, just give me a second. I'm trying to share a particular screen. All right, so you should, okay, I think I need to send it live first. Okay, yeah, you should be able to see that, right? You should be seeing a PDF document in front of you now that I've loaded up. Right, Lisa, everyone can use Excel. Excel can be both used in a small and big scale. That is correct. You know, it's used in small businesses, large enterprises. It is. We will find a use for Excel pretty much everywhere. Right, so there is no limit to what we can use Excel. Some people do some very fancy things. We can be doing some very simple things as well. Right, so. I'll publish that out for everyone to see. So looking at the objectives or the skills measured, so this is something you need to look at really carefully, right? I can't emphasize this enough. A lot of people just miss this, and it's for any exam really. Any exam, it doesn't even have to be Microsoft, doesn't have to be something office related. You will get skills measured or an objectives list, and something you should look at very carefully. So we're going to cover everything in this first domain here: importing data, navigating within workbooks, formatting worksheets, customizing options and views, configure content for collaboration. It may seem very simple. So it looks something easy that you know how to do, maybe you're doing every day. But remember, this is an exam we're preparing for. We need to know, the way Microsoft expects us to do something, right? We might be doing something already in a certain way. That's fine, completely okay. If you are using a certain feature that you see here in a very specific way, that's great, right? In the exam, though, you need to know all the ways to do something, all different ways, all the different buttons. You need to know Excel back to front, really. All the tabs, all the groups, all the buttons, all the commands, so you can really attempt any question. You know exactly what you need to do, and you can then get the particular question done. Keyboard shortcuts are great. It is not mandatory. You don't have to know your keyboard shortcuts. It's useful, right? It is a way to actually get through with your exam, right? But not really necessary. I don't want you to memorize every single shortcut, and then in the exam you land up pushing the wrong shortcut, and then you get the question wrong, right? So you can rather learn the mouse clicks methods, so clicking all the way, trying to find the fastest method, right? So we want to see what is really fast, what is easy to use, right? So I'm not saying, let me just make it clear that whatever you're doing is wrong, right? Your method is correct. However, you get some which are more correct, something that Microsoft's expecting you to actually know, as maybe a very popular method, something that Microsoft wants you to know, that you can use to do something quite easily, right? So there's a lot of terms around that. It's very hard to actually know what Microsoft expects you to know, because we'll all get different questions. You won't get the same questions I saw, maybe, right? So we will get different exam sets, get different exam questions, but I have to prepare you for any situation, anything that you have to come across, right? So we're going to go through all different methods to do something, right? So we are going to have a look at, looking at your importing of data into workbooks first, right? It's quite a topic, not in terms of, say, uh, how much workload we have there, right? But it's something that if we don't follow the steps, we might lose out on trying to actually achieve what is required of us. Now, I'm going to be looking at certain exercise files. All right, so you're welcome to just watch me if you want to. You're welcome to follow along with me. You're welcome to use your own work. In the chat window, I am going to put the files that you're welcome to use, exercise files, that you can download and utilize for today. All right, so free to use, free to I don't know if you'll be distributing it, not really needed, right? So this is data, this is dummy data that we are using, fictitious data that we are going to be utilizing. So when you go to that link, you'll see a folder structure. You'll be looking for a download button at the top. All right, so let me see if I can just go there quickly and I can show it to you as well. Then it actually makes sense, and then you know how you actually need to deal with this particular page here, right? So I'm just going to quickly stop sharing, and I'm going to share my window here. Right, so you should be seeing a window that says Office 365, MO-200 prep exercise files, a folder that says manage worksheets and workbooks. What you're going to do, you're going to click on the download button at the top left hand corner. It will download as a zip file to your PC. Choose your location, save as or save, or you want to open up, that's great, right? And what we want to open up is a folder within that. So we have 4 folders. We're going to start off with a folder called import data into workbooks. All right, and we're not going to open anything here. All right, we're going to be using some of these files for this particular session. All right, so just keep them ready when you have them downloaded. All right, so otherwise you are welcome to use your own content. All right, that's not a problem. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to actually just load up my particular Excel screen. All right, so let me just get that done. Okay, so you should be seeing an Excel screen in front of you, my Excel screen. And I'm just going to maybe keep the Q&A open as well, so I can see what's going on. At any point you think I'm going too fast, I need to explain something again, please do tell me. All right, so what we're going to start off with is importing data. Right, so the first topic of CSV or TXT files. Anyone know what a CSV file is? Right. I did say in the beginning when you were booking for the course that you should have some knowledge of Excel, not everything. Right. Maybe you have used a CSV file before. So if you want to put into the comments, the Q&A area, what is a CSV file? What does CSV stand for? So just really, what does it stand for? Maybe we don't need to know. We don't need to explain right now what it is really all about. Anyone would like to share if they have used a CSV file, what does it possibly actually stand for? Anyone want to give it a try? Let's see. Yes, Anonymous, I can see you have published yes. All right, can you tell me what does it stand for? Right. One answer, anyone who knows what a CSV file is? Comma separated values. Great, that is correct. Right, so a comma separated value means that we want to bring in an external file to use in Excel. Right, why do we have CSV files? Why are they brought in? A lot of external software and systems don't support Excel files, so we have to try to find a universal format in which certain files are a universal format, that's something that all programs can use, all different types of software can be that can actually use. So we use something called CSV, comma separated value. All right, so just have a look here. Common MIT says comma separate values. Yes, we also have Derek, a text file with columns separated by commas. Right, comma delimited. Great term there. Right, let me. Sorry, I just have a couple of Q&A issues here. Let me dismiss all these other ones. I usually download my bank's transactions on a CSV file, so I guess it's almost an Excel file. Yes, it's almost, all right. We do have it similar to Excel. Excel is one of the programs that can read a CSV file, all right. So what we are going to see here is that we have this word delimiter. Even one person, anonymous, used here delimiter. So what delimiter means here is the symbol that separates different type of text. And I'm going to, I think, yeah, just stop sharing again. I want to share a particular PowerPoint slide. Right, I just want to share a slide that I have here that we can actually just have a look at. Right, so you should again see my screen. Yeah, so this delimiter is a symbol that allows us to separate values, right? And what are examples of symbols? We have a comma, a semicolon, a pipe symbol, colon, and maybe full stop. These are some of the common ones we have, right? We can get others if we want to use others. The interesting one here is pipe. I don't know if anyone has ever used pipe symbol before. It is a very common one in certain places, right? So not everyone uses it because we might get confused with your comma or semicolon, right? Because a lot of countries, or actually even the full stop, a lot of countries use the comma and full stop for other purposes, such as decimal symbols, right? So we might get confused as a thousand separator as well. So we might get confused in what is a delimiter in certain files and what is not a delimiter, right? So we do see the pipe symbol being used quite a lot. I've had a recent interaction with the pipe symbols where in my country here in South Africa, we had a recent, with all this lockdown happening, people are not able to go back to work. They're losing out on salaries. So what happens then? We have our Department of Labor. They're saying that they said that we could claim from the government some monies that we have lost, right? And we get this paid out. right? It is known as the Unemployment Insurance Fund. So the Department of Labor sent all employers steps on how to submit the workers' details and their salary information to a particular payroll system they use. The one step was to ensure all employee details are captured in CSV files. Right, so that was interesting. Separated by the pipe symbol, believe it or not. So we don't see pipe used quite a lot, right? I have there's a comment here. I've used pipe for concatenating instructions on scripting. Yeah, see, so when you're scripting, you'll make use of it. All right, so it is when using things like PowerShell, right? A scripting tool, command prompt. If we can also, but more PowerShell really, we use it. But it's not a very common symbol, right? But our government wanted our people to actually make use of the pipe symbol in a CSV file, and it was utter chaos. It was just because people don't know what a pipe symbol is. In fact, they don't even know that it exists on our keyboard. Anyone know where it exists on the keyboard, except for the person who said for scripting, whoever that was. I can't see your name because you've used the word pipe as your name, right? But where do you think this pipe symbol exists actually? It's not a very easy place on our keyboard even if we don't use the other symbol quite a lot. So yeah, Derek says you've used pipe is on the Linux command prompt again. So you can see it's a very specialized symbol where we only maybe use it in Linux. We use it in other platforms, not really in Windows. Right. So if you can't find your pipe symbol, right, it's a straight line going down. Again, I'm going to share my keyboard. Right. So it's we do have a keyboard that I can share here. Let me open up my keyboard. All right, and I'm going to share this keyboard to the screen. Let me do that so we can all see what we need to. Okay, so you can see my keyboard. You should be able to see a keyboard. Your pipe symbol is above the enter key. So where you have backslash, all right, I've highlighted my mouse on that. Where you have the backslash symbol, that is where the pipe symbol also exists. So to get the pipe symbol, you push shift and the backslash and you get pipe. All right, so just going back to my particular, I'll go to Excel here. All right, we'll be working on Excel. So we will be using this pipe symbol. We see it quite often in certain places. Our government wanted us to use it, right? So luckily they gave step-by-step instructions. Otherwise, I don't know what everyone would have done. It could have been easier, right? It could have been an easier process. It could have really used something more simpler, right? But they chose to do this here, right? Great stuff, Anonymous, above the enter key, and someone's put the pipe symbol in. Right, so what we want to do here, because I do see we only have about 5 minutes left, I'm going to push for 11, right? If you do need to leave, if you have another engagement, please do leave at 11 o'clock. I really don't mind. I do apologize. We started late. I think people were having connection issues. Some people were not able to get on. Out of the 47 people that responded, I only got 11 people attending. Not a problem. I still continue with even if it's one person, right? So that one person can still get all the knowledge they need for this particular exam here. It will be up on YouTube, right? I'm not going to complete the lesson and then upload it, right? We will continue with the rest of the lesson in the next particular topic on Monday, right? With everything else, we will have time. We will finish. I do see that we could be falling behind, but we do have enough time, right? So not a problem there. So what we want to bring in is external information. In that exercise file folder, we had a CSV file, we had another Excel file, and we want to bring in, right? So we want to bring in the CSV file, this external file, into Excel. Now, if we want to import something, we go to the Data tab. All right, so I know some of you may be using Excel 2016 or Excel hopefully 2019 or 365, right? You may see different words, right? We want to try and get Office 365 or 2019. If we can, I'll explain that in the next lesson where we can possibly look to get that. All right, there are options free of charge. Right, if we do want to get Office 365, I'll explain all of that in the next lesson. I don't want to talk about it at the moment. I want to try and get at least something done here. So at the left-hand side, we have a group called Get and Transform. All right, so I don't know if I try and magnify this, is it going to really affect performance? All right, so you can see that Get and Transform is a group available right at the top left. So we want to click on the button that says from text / CSV. Right, so we click on from text / CSV and I wait for a screen to pop up. Right, so I have a dialog box opening up that we are going to be trying to then navigate to our exercise folder. So wherever we saved our files, we want to navigate to that particular location, right? So mine is on my desktop and I've put it in a certain folder. So I'm going to navigate to manage worksheets and workbooks. I'm going to import data into workbooks and we'll see a Contoso product CSV file available. All right, so before we import, please don't click import straight away. We want to just make sure that next to or just above the import button, we have a drop-down list called text files and all files. All right, so we want to make sure that either text files or maybe even better, all files is selected. So then you know that you can see your CSV file. In the exam, they may confuse you by telling you to import a CSV file, but when you navigate to the area they tell you to navigate to, it's not there, right? It is there. You just have to make sure you pick the all files option in this drop-down list here. Right, so then you can see all of your files there. So you have Contoso products, you have the Contoso product CSV and Excel file, right? Both look very similar. They have very similar icons, right? The one where we have a letter A, if I can just let me try to zoom in over here, right? An A and a comma in the icon is showing that it is a CSV file. Something with blocks shows that it's an Excel file. Right, so we just click on the CSV file. Right, Lisa, yes, you used it in commands in the old DOS 3.11 operating system. Have it besides Z on the Swedish keyboard. All right, so different keyboard layouts in different countries. Right, I apologize. I'm not a fan of other keyboard layouts. I'm just well, I'm sure we all the same with we are the same with other. If we try to use something that we haven't used before, it does really throw us off, right? So especially in the exam, it was really bad. I was presented with a UK keyboard layout. I got nothing against people from the UK, but if you're using a UK keyboard, it's really bad if you're not used to it compared to the US keyboard layout, because the 2 in the number row and the quotation mark, the double quotation mark symbol has been swapped around on the UK keyboard. So if you have to use the at symbol, you have to push another button. It gets really interesting there. Right, so we have Contoso product.csv. We just click on the import button. Right, so when we click on the import button, it's going to be connecting to something. Making a connection, doing all sorts of things. Right, and then we are presented with a window here that shows us that we need to just double check the settings, right? So we have over here that some setting called file origin. We don't need to worry about that. We also have delimiter, right? So it has picked up comma is a delimiter. If it doesn't pick up that comma as a delimiter, you can choose that, right? We do have the CSV file that is separated by a comma, right? So how do I know that it's separated by a comma? Maybe it's one step that I could have taken beforehand. So I'm just going to quickly stop sharing my screen. You don't need to open this up, but if you want to, you can. All right, so let me just share my notepad screen here. Right, so you can see that this is a notepad. What I did was I right-clicked on the CSV file and I just said open with, and then I said notepad. Right, if we double-click on a CSV file, it may not open the way you see it now. Right, so we can see that it is separated by commas. Right, we have commas over here. How do I know this comma is not a decimal symbol? Right, on my computer, it is definitely a comma. My language settings are set to English South Africa, so my decimal symbol is going to be, it can be a comma, it can be a full stop, depending on our program here. This particular CSV file has a separating symbol of a comma. Right, if I couldn't tell that from all of these options here, I can just look at the first line. The first line will give it away instantly. Why? Because the first line has headings. So these are all headings here for the data that we have. And we want to put all of this information into a neat tabular format. So rows and columns. So wherever you see this comma showing up, that's the point where we will have a border drawn. So to show the start of a column or the end of a column. All right, so we have this comma that's going to be separating all the different text that we have here. All right, so I will just go back to my Excel screen over here. Right, so we have this particular screen and it is showing comma, and all we do at this point then, this is just a preview showing what it's going to look like. We're just going to click on the load button. Right, so we click on the load button, it's doing something in the background, and there we have it. Right, all your data imported inside this Excel spreadsheet, starting at A1. On the right hand side, you'll get a pane showing up that says 1690 rows loaded. Right, and we get this in a table design. We will cover tables in a later topic. All right, don't worry about tables at the moment. It is being tested though, but don't worry if it's in a color you don't like or anything, that doesn't matter at the moment. All right, just if you can do this step, that's great. Right, it is simple as that, where we went to the data tab, we went to get data, or we can go to from text /CSV. We choose our particular file from our folder. We just have to make sure that the correct delimiter is being used, right? And we also just verify that it's showing correctly, it's separating correctly, and we just push load and it loads it inside. All right, so I am going to stop here. All right, I do want to respect your time. You might have other things to do. I'm not going to continue. Like I said, I did want to do a little bit more, right? But hopefully in the next lesson, I'm going to start off on time so then we can finish our first particular domain and also look at the second domain. All right, so thank you for attending today's session. All right, I do appreciate that you were able to attend today.